Before I dive into, I think let me just give you all a heads up, I think which you all know, right? In the next 72 to 96 hours, the 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, is going to swear in. While he's swearing in there, back here in Singapore, we are blissfully asleep, and he's wide awake and tweeting a storm. What does that mean to us? What does it mean to us as the supply chain leaders? We have seen in, I call it as 1.0, how our schedules have spinning, right? I'm sure I don't have to tell you. And as supply chain leaders, manufacturing leaders, the next tweet, how it is going to impact us, you would know, and that would really keep us awake. And that's the reason, actually, probably there is no better day than today, because you have a weekend and then the Monday comes. And we should talking about the right topic, what I call it as an intuitive supply chain. And what would it mean? And it is the right time for us to make us sleep better and make sure that we don't overload our doctors here in Singapore with our stress, right? And rather, I think I was just reflecting on it. I would have changed this title to turning a tweet into dollars, right? Everything you could possibly be able to see what we could do with that. Just to give you a bit of a understanding, I think, Stephen spoke about the whole manufacturing, how it is going to transform and what it is going to do, and it's given you a vision. And before that, you have spoken about, I think of some of my colleagues have spoken about how it is manufacturing going to. Maybe what I would do is, possibly I would just, spread this a bit more. I think, from a whole supply chain perspective, give some view of, all the whole value chain of the planning, sourcing, making, which is the making is the part which my colleagues have covered well, and then, deliver it as well. I will probably give you a bit more wider spectrum of it. And what we have done is, IBM, we have a think tank called Institute of Business Value, along with AWS, who is our partners for this specific event, and Oxford Economics, which is one of the institute which does this survey. We have done survey about 2,000 supply chain officers and automation executives, operational executives across the globe. And we were basically asking a specific set of questions. As you could see there here, some of the findings, what you have seen today, more than 60% of the supply chain leaders have unanimously have said that the whole generative AI is going to transform the traditional workflows. Again, if anybody count how many times I say Gen AI, and if they come and tell me I'm going to sponsor a good lunch and a dinner for them, absolutely, right? And they're unequivocally, about 60%. And if you look at it, and generative AI, I don't have to tell, right? I think ChatGPT has made that generative AI into everybody's DNA, and everybody knows that. And as Stephen did say that it has come, as I think Anand did say that it has come from a user base to an enterprise base. And we have also found that about 60% of the operational and automation executives have said that this year, in 2025, it is going to transform their traditional workflows into a Gen AI enabled. I think it is not tomorrow, it's not day after, it is today. And while we have said about the workflows and transformation, but I think the most important part is, can it make a decision? Can it make a decision by automatically? And you might have heard about something called agentic AI, okay, which is basically autonomous and be able to take some decisions on its own. And when we surveyed that about 20% of the decision making could be done with the Gen AI in the next 2 years. That is what is basically said. Maybe when we did that, it could be done, but it would be lesser. And we have seen that it is going to impact the whole sustainability very well. And when we go into a bit more details in terms of what kind of benefits and revenues they're going to get, it's about 17%. Basically, report said that they're going to gain the profits, and 72% have said profits, and 17% said basically it is going to grow their revenue, and which is very consistent across the whole 2,000 supply chain leaders which we spoke about. And as I said, I think we all know about the chatbots. I think we believe that Gen AI assistants are going to be the next, I call it HR, okay, for us. And as someone aptly said, AI is not going to replace the people, but the people who know AI is going to replace the people who don't know AI. That's what it is. And we clearly see that you see that so many systems which are actually drowning, the data is drowning across ERP systems, your sourcing systems, procurement systems and all. How you would be able to get the data from there and be able to converse with the systems unanimously in your natural language is what we believe that is the next wave of AI agents which is going to come. And most importantly, I think this is very important part what we have really seen it. As we see in the supply chain leaders, they will always be judged by their ability to find the effective workaround. They will always be in the mode of a plan B, and if plan B doesn't come, plan C, plan D, plan E. And we clearly, and according to them, and what we have clearly seen, the supply chains, what I call it as an intuitive supply chains, which are, I think, three key things: agile, adaptive, and future-proof. That is the three things which everybody is looking at how to make it to sleep peacefully, right? And the next thing, 77% said that in the next 2 years, probably I think the whole autonomous stuff is going to make the difference with the AI advancements. And you must have heard about digital twins and so on. I wanted to tell you one thing. Do not assume that this is only for MNCs, this is only for big companies. No. We have done a specific project with a brewery of 27 people employee company where we have put in a digital twin for their brewery management, and we have optimized their CAX management to improve the cash flow by 20% and improve the sales by 76%. That's what we have actually seen it. This is not for big people as what you think. It is for all of us, including SMEs. We can be able to do it with the virtual agents. And as an IBM, we ourselves, as a technology company, we ourselves are indeed a big supply chain company. And we always put our own technology to our own purposes. And what we call it as a client zero. And as a client zero, we embed our technology, we learn. I wanted to tell you we would learn, and whatever the lessons learned, we incorporate and we roll it out and we bring it to the clients. And we do have different technologies in terms of the asset management like Maxmos and watsonx. And as Stephen spoke about quantum computing, that's where actually we are pioneering across the whole industry. In the last, I would say probably 5 to 10 years. Where we are spending our research in terms of our quantum computing. And if I look at, before I jump into, I spoke about what your supply chain leaders talked about, and I spoke about, what IBM does as a supply chain company. But I wanted to tell you how IBM, as a company, we transformed ourselves in the last, I would say, 15 years. Trust me, we have started this journey back in 2010, and we have changed all our supply chains from a harmonized supply chain to a transparent to AI-enabled supply chains, and all the technology we are actually putting into our own supply chain. And we have moved from plus AI, I call it as a sprinkling the AI somewhere here and there, I think, which is probably we had to do that at that point in time because of the non-maturity of the AI. But now we are actually embedding the AI first. I think I call it as an AI plus. We are actually transforming the whole workflows, and embedding AI into everything what we do, from the planning to sourcing to making to delivering and to the servicing. The whole supply chain, the 5 parts of it is what we are actually doing. And in terms of as I said, I think AI assistance, what I call it as, I think the fundamental aspect of, I call it as a natural language. In fact, I was talking to another client the other day. The client was asking me, hey, my CEO wants to understand what are the top 10 products, what are the top 10 SKUs which sold in the last 2 weeks. And for that, the IT team has to go and get a report. We don't know what the report is, whether it is right or wrong, and what is the single source of truth. But why can't as the CEO, I can ask the question in a natural language, show me the top 10 SKUs, okay, in this region. I think that's what actually we are actually trying to build and give this whole thing to all our supply chain professionals and automation executives and operational executives. These are the key features what we have embedded. What I call it is in our own IBM's supply chain, which actually is a $10 billion of hardware business which we do, and as part of that we build the supply chain. And we have, the question really comes in is ROI, right? And we have saved ourselves about $400 million of supply chain savings, what we did. We have a conscious effort on the sustainability, what we are trying to do it. And we have reduced the time what is needed to be done. And we have, reduced the kind of plastic requirements across our whole supply chain. And these are actually the clear signs of what I call it as an AI-first enabled supply chain transformation. And this is, again, I want to tell you the journey has started 10 years back. We are 15 years into the journey, and we believe that this journey is going to continue, in the next 5 to 10 years as the whole AI is evolving it. And if I spoke about, I think in my first session, I spoke about what the supply chain leaders are saying. They said clearly Gen AI is the next wave to go, and it is there in the next 2 years. And I spoke about IBM's case study, where we have saved ourselves in terms of our supply chain. And then the question comes in is, how? How did you do this, right? I just wanted to tell you, as you know, I think, everybody, all people will have all the systems. What do we call it as a single enterprise supply chain? These are what I call it as a, transactional systems, which you need to have it to be able to do it. The systems of transactions happens, but the complexity starts happening once you have the left side and right side. Your suppliers, your 3PLs, your sourcing providers, everybody. Then on the right-hand side, your customers would be coming in, your distributors and so on. Once the whole value chain comes in and the whole data transformation happens from the left to right to, in between your that's where the complexity happens. And we have seen clearly the kind of challenges, which, I don't have to talk about it. I think everybody we know. But the question comes in is how to solve the problem, right? That's where, we have brought in, the kind of a unified supply chain data platform. I want to tell you one thing, if you ask me anybody, what should I do it? I think, you just get your data right. I think that's the fundamental element to do anything. Otherwise, it's a garbage in, garbage out. Focus on your data. That's what we have done it. And once you have done that, I think we have started applying the natural language processing. If anybody asks me what's the difference between AI 5 years back and now, I think the whole natural language processing, like how we speak in Singlish ourselves, you could actually bring that level of natural language processing capability has been enabled, enhanced as part of this whole, what I call it as a foundational models, and it is the right time to do this. And then we have brought in the different, the predictive elements of it, because it is not just about reports, it's about bringing in the insights, it's about bringing in the predictivity to the part of the whole decision-making process. And on top of that, we have brought in our own models. Doesn't necessarily have to be IBM model. It could be any model, which you could possibly use that. And end of the day, you can actually be able to get your business objectives. And most importantly, I think what I call it is a systems of orchestration. You know, this is where probably if I change my slide for the next one, I call it as an agentic AI orchestration. With the agents being able to, you know, orchestrate the overall flow and be able to give you the business outcome is what we are saying. Somebody asked me, what is agentic AI? I just wanted to tell you one thing. It is text to action. You give the text, it will give you the action. That's what I would simply say so. With that, I would like to, you know, as I said, right, you spoke about what different people have spoken about, what, you know, IBM has done in our own supply chain in terms of saving about $400 million. And I spoke about how did I do it. And you just saw in the previous slide of the different layers of architecture and technology which we have built in. Now tell me, as I said, I was talking about, can I ask in a natural language? Let me just show you some example in the real world example of how it is done. As you could see here, right, in fact, IBM has partnered with Dun & Bradstreet, I think a majority of the people you know, and we have worked with them to put in the whole AI platform. As you could see here, in fact, this platform is available. They're going to make it available for the customers like all of us to find out, because they do have the data sets which are really rich and which are you know, authentic. It's not going to hallucinate. I think most important part of it, because the whole information has been, you know, pumped from the Dun & Bradstreet data sets. And you as, you know, let's say procurement person, you'd be asking the questions as what you really wanted to ask, right? Okay, who is the supplier at risk? Or, you know, what's the potential disruption which could probably happen? And what are the alternative suppliers which I could have it? And you could ask those kind of natural language questions, what, you know, it is being asked. And you could actually being able to get the information what you want. In fact, it is not just for procurement people, it's for anybody. And if, you know, one of the supply chain officers or even the CEO wants to understand what's the potential disruptions I could apply from the suppliers, you could actually do that, right? That's basically what I call it as the next level of Gen AI assistance. What I spoke about in the previous version is going to bring in the kind of a transformation what you are actually seeing it. And the same thing indeed we applied for the whole value chain. We applied for the planning, we applied it for the sourcing what you saw, we applied for the making in terms of some of the use cases which you know, you could, you know, see it at our booth right behind you. And then, you know, in terms of the delivery, and then the most importantly, the customer experience as well. The whole value chain is what probably we see that, we as the customers would be able to get the best value out of it. And with that, I think, as you heard about Industry 5.0 and Industry 4.0 plus sustainability and the human ingenuity, I think I call it, right? In terms of the overall value chain. And we do provide what I call it as innovation, thought process, leadership. And most importantly, I would say that our experiences are predominantly from the clients where we have gone through the whole transformation, journey, and most importantly, they have enough scars behind in terms of what are the key lessons learned, what are the things, I would say, what not to do than what to do, right? Which is the most important thing in any kind of a things. And we have the solutions which are probably working in production at the different industries, be it the manufacturing, be it automotive, be it electronics, be it everybody. And we are able to basically do the whole transformation, okay? And I urge you to probably go and visit our booth to look some of the solutions which are in action where you could actually feel it, right? We ourselves here, we always wanted to touch and feel it. We don't want it to believe a slide. I'm absolutely with you. I think that's why I encourage you to actually go and visit our booth there. I think with that, thank you very much for joining, and I hope we all will have a good rest, okay, with no tweets in the night. Thank you.